Long before the United States became a global superpower, it began as a collection of small, struggling colonies along the eastern coast of North America. Its story is one of ambition, conflict, revolution, and transformation, a journey that would reshape not only a continent, but the entire world. This is the story of how the United States of America was born. Before European settlers arrived, North America was home to millions of indigenous people, organized into diverse nations with rich cultures, languages, and traditions. These societies thrived for thousands of years, developing complex systems of trade, agriculture, and governance. Everything began to change in the late 15th century, when European explorers, driven by trade and curiosity, crossed the Atlantic Ocean. This marked the beginning of a new era, one that would bring opportunity for some and devastation for others. By the 1600s, several European nations had established colonies. Spain dominated the south, while France controlled vast territories along the Mississippi River. In 1607, the English founded Jamestown, the first permanent English settlement. Years later, in 1620, the Pilgrims arrived aboard the Mayflower. Over time, 13 British colonies formed along the Atlantic coast. Though each had its own identity, they shared a common loyalty to Great Britain. At first, these colonies depended heavily on Britain, but as they grew, they developed their own economies, cultures, and political ideas. By the mid-18th century, tensions between Britain and its American colonies were rising. One major turning point was the French and Indian War. To pay off war debts, the British government began imposing new taxes. Laws such as the Stamp Act placed financial burdens on colonists. Colonists had no representation in the British Parliament. This led to a powerful slogan: "No taxation without representation." In 1770, tensions erupted into violence during the Boston Massacre, where British soldiers fired on a crowd of colonists. In 1773, colonists staged the Boston Tea Party, dumping British tea into the harbor in protest of taxation. Britain responded with harsh measures, known as the Intolerable Acts, further escalating the conflict. By 1775, the situation reached a breaking point. The first battles of the American Revolutionary War took place at Lexington and Concord. Soon after, representatives gathered in the Second Continental Congress. They organized a unified resistance and appointed George Washington as commander. On July 4, 1776, a bold and historic document was adopted, the Declaration of Independence. Written primarily by Thomas Jefferson, it declared the 13 colonies independent and introduced powerful ideas about human rights and equality. The war for independence was long and difficult. The Continental Army faced major challenges, including limited supplies and a powerful enemy. At Valley Forge, soldiers endured extreme conditions but emerged stronger and more disciplined. International support played a crucial role. France provided military aid and eventually joined the war as an ally. In 1781, the war reached its decisive moment at the Battle of Yorktown. British General Cornwallis was forced to surrender. In 1783, the Treaty of Paris officially ended the war. Great Britain recognized the independence of the United States of America. A new nation had been born. But independence brought new challenges, starting with the weak Articles of Confederation. Recognizing the need for change, leaders gathered in 1787 to draft a new constitution. The U.S. Constitution established a stronger federal government with three branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. In 1789, George Washington became the first president. Soon after, the Bill of Rights was added, guaranteeing fundamental freedoms. In the decades that followed, the United States began to expand westward. The Louisiana Purchase in 1803 doubled the country's size. Explorers like Lewis and Clark set out to map the new territories, encountering vast wilderness and indigenous nations. However, expansion came at a cost. Indigenous populations were displaced, and conflicts over land intensified. At the same time, the issue of slavery created deep divisions within the nation, tensions that would eventually lead to the Civil War. The creation of the United States had a profound impact on the world, inspiring revolutions in France and Latin America. The United States gradually grew into a major economic and political power, influencing global events for centuries. The birth of the United States was a complex process shaped by conflict, ideas, and determination. From early colonies to a structured government, the story of America is one of transformation and a vision of freedom. And that vision continues to shape the nation and the world to this day.